Hi guys, it's Alex McCann here from Manchester-based social media company Ultimate HQ, and we're talking today about the 5 top mistakes that businesses make on Instagram. And for those that have never watched me, I just wanted to give a very short intro into myself. So I run a Manchester-based social media company called Ultimate HQ. I've been running that since 2009. But before that, I've literally had 3 separate careers from 1999 to where we are today in 2020. I used to be a music journalist interviewing all the big rock and roll stars from 1999 to 2007. I ran an events company from 2004 to 2014. And I've ran the social media company, as I said, from 2009 to the present day. So 20 years marketing experience, over 10 years social media experience. I worked with some big brands over the years, from the BBC to Manchester City, the NHS, the Arndale and Selfridges. And I'm literally known as Mr. Social Media. I've got 400 LinkedIn recommendations. I spend over 200 hours a month on social media, and our social media updates land on 500,000 screens. So now you know me, I really want to get into the meat and the bulk of the content that we're talking about today, which is all about Instagram. So obviously I offer training, I offer social media management, but this isn't a sales pitch. It's about giving as much value as possible. What we're going to actually cover today is an intro to Instagram. We're going to look at some great accounts, and then we're going to go into the 5 top mistakes that businesses make on Instagram. So if you need to forward past to the relevant 5 mistakes, probably forward about 5 minutes in the video and you get to the 5 top tips or the 5 top mistakes. Instagram, as you know, for those that really are sort of ground level, it is sort of set up as a fun and quirky way to share life with your friends for a series of pictures. And then, like all social media platforms, businesses and marketers jump on and try and push their products onto people. And obviously, it's got huge amounts of users, 1 billion monthly active users, 2 million advertisers. They added 200 million daily active users a year after launching stories. So we're going to look into how important stories are later. And this is the state of play. So you notice we're now, as we're recording this video, we're in June 2020. So January 2020 in the UK, there were 24 million users of Instagram. Then we jumped to the middle of lockdown, and you can see where the UK is based on there, about 9 or 10 from the top. It's jumped up to 25 million. So just 2 million in a matter of months. How important is Instagram going to be for your business based on the fact there are 25 million users in the UK? So that is the state of play where we are. I'm going to talk briefly about which types of businesses Instagram is suited to. So you probably know Instagram for these types. Joe Wicks, the body coach. You're doing PE with your kids probably at school every morning. But he literally estimates that when people follow him on Instagram, they spend money with him 6 to 8 weeks later. So it's not just about likes, comments, and shares and so on. It's about actually using Instagram as a marketing platform to generate revenue. And then you probably know it for what you'd call the typical influencers. People like JD Pierce, who's fantastic, briefly Justin Bieber's girlfriend for a while, but literally is what you'd see typical influencer, pushes products, pushes makeup, but is genuinely her authentic self. And then you've got brands that we know in Manchester like Hotel Gotham, where it's almost like Instagram is built into its DNA. So when you go and stay at Hotel Gotham, you literally would take a photo. It's very Instagrammable in every single room of the hotel. And then you've got a business like mine, a social media company or a professional services firm, where we're literally, many assume that B2B can't work on Instagram, or it shouldn't work on Instagram, or it's quite hard to do. But if you just look at the screen grab now, you notice how if you're a small business, your biggest advantage is actually the people behind the business, the people, the staff, the team, the face. People love to see happy, smiley faces. So that is Instagram. Those are what you might assume. We're going to look at some great examples now. of what I feel are great examples of Instagram accounts and how you can take lessons from them. So the first one is, can anyone guess which supermarket you think this is? And I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think about this, just to chew it over in your head. And typically, what people sort of say when they see this screen grab is they might say Waitrose, they might say Morrison's, the sort of what you'd consider more upmarket supermarkets. Well, this screen grab you've seen right on screen now is actually Aldi. This is Aldi's Instagram feed, an ever-flowing banquet table, a food that if you ate every single dish, you'd be going to get a PT and trying to lose weight, because they fit into the Instagram aesthetics of beautiful food porn. So you've got to treat Instagram as a separate channel than, say, your Facebook or Twitter, where Aldi's messaging or his marketing messages is very different. So fit into the Instagram aesthetic to a certain element. We then look at one of the fantastic brands that I love, which is the Avocado Show, which are based in Amsterdam. They literally, if you're based in Manchester, they're a very Amsterdam version of Toast, which is based in Altrincham. So they serve everything with avocado. And what I want to get across from this one is Instagram equals customers and money. So when I went to visit Amsterdam a couple of years ago, I made a beeline for the Avocado Show because I loved their Instagram feed. I'd wanted to visit for a long period of time and I decided to visit. So I went and spent money with them with one of my friends, and there was a queue of about 25 people outside at 11 a.m. in the morning. You can't pre-book. So all those people would have been there purely because of how successful the Instagram marketing is. So it translates into real life customers. And then we've got the Knowing Your Why. And this is an account called Black Girls Run UK. And the reason that these girls set up this account, or women should I say, is because they enjoyed running and they went to running events, and they traditionally, what you maybe call your amateur running events, things such as park run, they didn't see black female faces at these events. They realised that the only time you saw a black runner was in the Olympics or in the Commonwealth Games or so on. So they wanted to represent their community. So they had a clear objectives. They had a specific audience. They networked with that audience. And you can see from that middle photo, they've got the branding on point. But all of this wouldn't have happened if they didn't have a strong why at the beginning. Then we're looking at B2B Instagram. And this is web designers in Stockport, near Manchester, at We Are Instilled. And you can see Sue and Ines in a number of these photos. And they're not doing the typical web designer Instagram style, which is just really poorly screen grabbed websites. They're focusing on the fact they're a local business and the local people, and they love the town that they're based in. And there's a personality to what they do, because if you're a small business, people buy from people. And lastly, this is like, it counteracts everything I said before, but not everything has to be beautiful on Insta. This is at Cleaner Cheshire. They're a business we trained fairly recently on Good Friday weekend. And why does it work? Because you look at some of those photos and they're not what you'd call glossy. They're not perfect, and they're not the Instagram aesthetic. But why it works is it has personality. Matt, who is behind the business, injects his own personality. He's passionate about the standards of a cleaning business. And there is an emotional reaction to the loss of the post, because a lot of what they show is the sort of gunk and dirt and the horrible things you see as a cleaner. And it evokes a reaction that you go, wow, has someone left a building in that state? Or a sort of, wow, you've changed this business around, or this house or this residency, and you've totally changed it around. So personality, passion, and the emotional reaction. So now, as I said, we're going to look at the actual 5 specific Instagram mistakes that people make. And the first one is this thing. Now, when you see the Canva logo on screen, do you think that Canva is a good thing or a bad thing for your business? Just think about that for a while. And what I'm going to say to you now might surprise you. So what I think is the modern day death by PowerPoint on Instagram is death by Canva. And what I mean by that is I've just done a search for hashtag virtual assistant on Instagram. And unfortunately, no disrespect to some great virtual assistants, but virtual assistants are really sort of typical in sort of, we will produce you 30 Instagram images and send them over to you, and then you've got your 30 days post on Instagram. It's got 0 personality. So things like do what you do best and outsource the rest. 90% of VAs will use that quote, the same as 90% of PTs or personal trainers will use the quote, the only bad workout is the workout you didn't do. So 0 personality, they're using the same quotes as everyone else, and people buy from people. They like to see a smiley face. So try and avoid death by Canva. If you're doing any graphics or social tiles or testimonial style graphics, actually employ a real graphic designer who can inject your personality into these tiles and not just someone who knows how to use Canva, because death by Canva is the new death by PowerPoint. And the next phase is this screen grab you see now with hands over a Bible is interestingly about words and the importance of your Instagram captions. So captions on Instagram are not an afterthought. I've done a whole blog on ultramhq.co.uk on captions, over 1,000 words on Instagram captions, so ultramhq.co.uk. But there are 3 key elements of success on Instagram. Firstly, the image. The image makes people stop on the scroll. The second part is what we're talking about now, which is captions. That attracts a response. It elicits a response from someone. It grabs your attention, makes people stick around. And the hashtags extend the reach of your post. So 3 key elements. If you get one of those elements wrong, your Instagram post is not going to reach massive success. So look at this one here. Captions are not an afterthought. So do you think you've used lockdown productively? Be honest. It has intrigue in those first few lines of the caption. The next bit is the bit you see within the middle of that, what I call the meaty middle section, which is a really strange phrase to use for a vegan, but the meaty middle section. So you've got to add value in the middle of your post. That is the key thing. You can't intrigue people and then let them down. You've got to have that meaty middle section, the value-packed element of your post. And then you can notice how at the end of that, I've asked for a response. I've asked questions. Let us know what you've done to improve your life or business, because doing nothing is a step backwards. Answers below. Ask for a response. Strangely enough, if you ask someone a question, people generally answer that question in the comment section. So captions are definitely not an afterthought on Instagram. The next stage, which is me and my lovely friends in my back garden, is literally, this is really important, engaging with people that you've just seen. And this is taking the stepping stones, 15 or 20 minutes a day on all these different elements that you see of Instagram, the Instagram feed, replying to Instagram stories, replies to people who've actually cared enough to reply to your post. New followers, they've showed an interest to you. Go and look at what they're posting and maybe reply to one of their posts. And then there's things like the search functions, the hashtag search and the location search. 15 to 20 minutes a day engaging on Instagram, because you'd engage on LinkedIn, you'd engage on Twitter, you'd engage on Facebook and Facebook groups. So why is Instagram seen for a lot of people as I log onto Instagram, post and go? You can engage and take those stepping stones and build real authentic relationships. Some of the accounts that use Instagram as their main social media platform will actually spend a lot longer than that. They'll spend 45 minutes, an hour a day. But for most businesses, 15 to 20 minutes a day is manageable. And then Instagram stories. That's a biggie, guys. So they're the circles that you see at the top, which a lot of people are using a lot more often than the feed. And two things you're looking to increase by using stories. First of all, before I even go into reach engagement, you're looking to increase the brand awareness. So you can see the top sort of 3 circles on there: Nina D Illustrations, McHale & Co., Cleaner Cheshire. You can see on that account how if I log on to Instagram and I see their faces, their logos, etc. at the start of when I log into Instagram, they're at the sort of forefront of my mind. They're the people I'm thinking of. They're the people that I'm potentially going to refer business to if anyone asks, can you recommend a law firm, for example? So first of all, it puts you at the front of people's mind. But then by actually using stories, you're looking to increase via the sticker function and the text function on stories. You can increase the reach by using hashtag stickers, location stickers, and actually talking about and tagging other people in your stickers. So networking events, for instance, or talking about your clients. Then there's engagement, all the engagement stickers, so quizzes, polls, and questions. You'll notice throughout, if you follow me on Instagram at UltramHQ, you'll actually see I do a variety of probably all 6 different elements of those throughout one day. So I'm posting multiple stories, but those are the 2 things you're looking to increase. And if you look how younger people, teenagers, and even people in their 20s are using Instagram, they're using stories a lot more than they're using the feed-based post. And as we know, adults always mimic how younger people use social media platforms. It's only a matter of time before you're the one left behind by not using stories. And then the last thing is Instagram Insights. Now, if you've never used the Instagram Insights, where you'll see them is they used to be on the go to your profile, click the 3 lines, and then you go onto your insights. Now, once you go onto the profile, they're quite bold and quite visible on your profile. So what can it show you? It can show you the level of activity. It can show you, so for instance, how many profile visits you've had, how many website clicks, how many emails you've had, how much reach you've got, how much impressions you've had. So actually, when you look at my account, these screen grabs are slightly out of date. Now I'm averaging between about 25,000 impressions every single week, and over 2,000 to 3,000 individual accounts reached. So it's reaching a sizable amount of figures. You don't have to reach huge amounts of people, because remember, compare these figures to face-to-face. If someone asked you to speak at a networking event and the networking event organizers said that they had 20 people to 30 people turn up, you'd be chuffed if every single one of those turns up. So think of like Instagram metrics as like real life metrics. What would it mean if you've got 100 followers, 20 people seeing a post, 3 or 4 people asking questions? Don't always look for the figures that influencers have. Then you look at things like content. What is the most popular post that you've done recently? How many people has it reached? Can I give more content that my audience actually lap up and consume? And what is not performing as well as it could be? And then lastly, your audience. Things like where they're based, what their gender is, what their age is, what time are they most likely to be online. So those are the actual 5 mistakes that people make on Instagram, or businesses make on Instagram on a regular basis. So hopefully that's been really, really helpful for you. We've obviously talked about how powerful Instagram is. We've talked about actually some great accounts that you can look at and influence. And I'd recommend you just follow great accounts regardless of whether they're in your industry. And obviously we've talked about the 5 mistakes that businesses make on Instagram. So I use Instagram every day. I'm on Instagram as @UltramHQ. If you've got any questions after watching this presentation, please do DM me on Instagram. You can go on my website @ultramhq.co.uk, or you can actually email me, Alex, ALEX, @altringhamhq.co.uk. Thanks for your time, and please do share this broadcast with anyone that you feel it can help. I've been Alex. My company's called Altringham HQ. We're a social media company based in Manchester. Thank you again.